have any idea that my cousin would be speaking to us today, Terry Lipsy Scott. She has the same last name, so we have to be kin to each other. She was born in Savannah, and my dad was born about 30 miles from there. So I was told years ago that all of us Scots are family, so I claim her as family. What a powerful sharing that she brought to us today, and we're grateful for that. Today I'm in a rare mood. And this week has been sort of a defining week for me. And today I need to share with you what has been coming to me, even during my sleep. And Carrie will tell you that I've said to her many times, she asked me when we first got together years ago, she was telling me about her dream. She had a dream. And I said, well, I can't remember the last time I had a dream. I'm told that we dream. It's just a part of what happens while we sleep. But I don't ever remember my dreams. It doesn't happen. So she could tell me vividly, the dream state. How many of you have dreams regularly and you remember them? See, not me. However, in the last week, a little longer, I'm dreaming. And I'm saying that to you because it's very disturbing to me, because I can tell you that it's been at least 20 years since I could say I remembered a dream, unless the dream happened and whatever occurred in the dream transpired. And so it always was one of those things where I was a little alarmed by it. Whatever transferred or happened in the dream also tended to happen in the physical. When I was 11 years old, I had this fiery preacher prophesy over me that I was a prophet. But I had so many people that would tell me that as I was growing up. And that was, okay, fine. I'm not sure what that means. I did find out later that prophets don't profit very much, and not the real ones unless they have a 1-800 hotline or something. Then when I found out what prophets were, I was like, nope, I'm good. I appreciate it, because prophets tend to be pushed to the margins, and they tend to be persecuted. They tend to be thought of as freaks, something's wrong with them, or killed. And like any one of those is kind of like, yeah, I think I'll pass. There's plenty of other callings I'll go with. Thank you. When I was 21 years old, I had a minister do the same thing. He said, you're a prophet. And I said, thanks. Walked away going, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not, no, I'm not. And I've said that really ever since. I don't know what is happening to me currently, but I can tell you this. What is happening in me and has happened to me in about the last really week and a half, 2 weeks, is a shift, a real shift in me internally, and a real sense of boldness that has come on me really in the last week, for sure. And I am answering a call that I have run from. And that calling might not sit well with some of you. Some of the things that I may go over today are not necessarily the beliefs of the board, the leadership here, staff, or anyone else. If you need to send an email, it's Rev, Jon Scott at firstunity.org. Don't send an email to anyone else. Send it to me, because I can handle it. So I stand here today in my own calling and in my own purpose, on my own if I need to be, with not asking anybody to back it up. And here we go. Thrive in 2025. Everybody good? Everybody smile at me. All right. I nearly freaked out and had a rapture moment sitting over there during the devotion service when Reverend Mickey, are you in the room anywhere? When Reverend Mickey read the sacred reading this morning, which I was completely unaware of. And the title of it was, once again, Mickey, what was the title of it again? United State of Consciousness. The subtitle was Radical Interconnectedness. The title of my talk today is The Radical Power of Oneness. And I had no idea what her reading was going to be, but suffice it to say there's some synchronicity in the space. Here we are celebrating Black History Month, but we shouldn't have to. I'm going to say that again. Here we are celebrating Black History Month, but we should not have to. And there are those who are attempting to dismantle all of that, and they're doing it under the guise of it creates more racism. But the truth is that it is still that hatred and that denial of a true story that we need to be able to face. If we don't face it, we'll never be able to change it. That's really what is behind it right now. But let me give you this quote from James Baldwin. He said, "Not everything that you face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until you face it." So not everything that you face can be changed, but nothing can be changed until you face it. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. So I'm talking to you today about a radical, world-shifting, a radical, powerful sense of true oneness. That we are connected to each other eternally and irrevocably. So that when someone else is harmed by you, you're harming yourself because you're connected. When someone else is weakened in the human experience, you also are weakened in your human experience. But the same is true when others are lifted up. You also are lifted up. And any system, religious or governmental or otherwise, that oppresses any group of people, it is not doing so under the direction of the divine. I may be here in this life to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable. I'm willing to accept that as my mandate if that's what my mandate is. And my family already knows that this could mean that I might not have a good job. This could mean that in some way they may come under some kind of attack. This could mean that people might not like me, but I am not in a popularity contest. If I were, I probably wouldn't have worn this shirt. I've decided that I cannot be hired by a system, therefore I cannot be fired by it. I've decided that I have a calling that is higher than any of the systems that we have currently put in place in our world. I have decided that I know that I have been to a real mountaintop. And in this last week, I went right up to the top. And I saw the ability for a new world. I saw the possibilities. But we will not do it apart from each other. We will do it collectively in radical oneness. At the heart of unity and new thought principle that I was completely unaware of until 2013. I visited a Unity North. I think it's in Marietta, Georgia. I visited Unity North. Richard Burdick is the pastor there, the minister, whatever the titles are. I visited there because Carlton Pearson, my spiritual father, said, I'm going to be in the Atlanta area. Faith Rivera is going to be singing. I'd just love for you to meet her, and I'd love for you to meet Reverend Burdick. So would you be interested in coming up? And I said, I'll drive up. It's about an hour and a half drive for me at that time. My first experience with the Unity Church, and I really didn't experience the Unity Church because it was Faith Rivera and it was Carlton Pearson. So it was like church for me. 2013, fast forward, I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I got a call from Reverend Sheree Larkin, and she said, hey, I need a music director at my Unity Church. Would you be interested? And I had mouths to feed, and I was not on tour at the time, so I needed to make money somehow. I did not want to preach. I did not want to teach. I was not interested in working under my ordination. I had left organized religion for good. I was done with it, but I figured I can go sing. That's what I moved to Nashville to do. I can go sing if you will pay me some money. So I said to her, very, I guess, kindly and respectfully, sure, if you'll pay me, I'll be there. I didn't know what unity was. 2 months later, she resigned. And the board heard I was a minister. So the board president, Ted Martinez, came to me, and Ted said, hey, Reverend Cherie said that you're a minister. Would you be willing to speak for us maybe once or twice a month? We'll have other guests come in, and then we'll have our ministerial committee, search committee thing. We're going to have them doing a thing. Will you maybe speak for us just a couple of months? It won't take long. And before I could stop the words, I said yes. I had to go find out what the heck unity was. Because I got afraid, Lisa. I was like, the last church that I was in, they dubbed me a false prophet and a heretic, and they wanted to push me out of town. I don't want to get up and experience that here. Plus, I need that $500 a week to be their music director. So I had to go look it up. And when I looked it up, I did not know I had been studying the Fillmores, and I'd been studying Ernest Holmes already, that I had already been introduced to Paramahansa Yogananda. I was under some of the tutelage of Dr. Wayne Dyer and Bishop Carlton Pearson. And I went, oh my gosh, this sounds like that. At the very heart of unity and new thought is this philosophy of the principle of oneness. At the heart of it is our connectedness. It's the idea that it's the interconnectedness that arises from the single source, a single divine consciousness, that we're all of that same presence. It's the belief that we're all an emanation and a manifestation from the one source of life. But oneness is not passive. And oneness does not pacify those who want to remain babies. It's not always nice. And it sure as heck is not weak. Radical oneness invites us into a tremendous level, probably, of discomfort. Oneness is a radical, world-disrupting, powerful, challenging force that threatens the very foundation of injustice everywhere. Oneness, if we truly believe it, invites us to strip off all of the garbage of our religious and spiritual bypassing and see the truth of our calling in this world. Oneness is not a philosophy that adopts the shroud of prejudice and racism and other isms under privilege by saying, well, oppression's not real because we're all just one. In other words, you're not feeling the pain of racism or sexism or homophobia or transphobia. You're not feeling the pain that families are who are of Mexican descent, who are being ripped apart and put in detention centers. You're not feeling the pain, and so therefore it's not real. Oneness, radical oneness, invites us into feeling their pain so that we can further help to relieve their oppression. That's what oneness is about. Oneness is not an escape into your privileged space. It is a radical movement of change and loving awareness. It is radically inclusive. It is dangerous to those who depend on division and hatred. It is subversive to those who wield power through fear. It is revolutionary to the systems that have propped up the illusion of separation. Oneness is the truth of who we really are. Number one. Okay. Number one, true oneness destroys the ignorant and weak fear-based view of God. No. Before you applaud, listen to what I have to say here. I want to announce loud and clear today that big old angry ogre God in the sky who's looking to judge everybody for these little petty things that have distracted us is not real, is not alive. True oneness dismantles any religious system that claims exclusivity and that claims a God of unconditional love, but rejects the weak, rejects the poor, rejects the homeless, rejects the minority, and those who are non-white, trans, gay, etc. The list goes on. Oneness dismantles that religious system. Oneness dismantles any religion that wants to use power of the government to force its own biddings on other people through its preferences. Oneness dismantles any religion that uses threats of imagery of hell to psychologically manipulate people to join, pay for, and perpetuate their cult. Oneness. Man, y'all still with me? Oneness dismantles any religion that claims to protect children that has been a haven for more sexual abuse than any other group in the history of the world, while ignoring human trafficking and in turn supporting those who have not only been convicted or accused, but convicted of sexual crimes. Oneness dismantles any religion that positions its God contrary to nature. Oneness dismantles any religion that dismantles a religion that moves to ban books about history in order to cover up its inability to face its real history. Oneness dismantles any religion that endorses an end-of-the-world scenario where God is going to kill billions of unbelievers so that he can make the world a better place for us to live in. Oneness dismantles the systems that have held us in bondage. Too many traditional religious structures depict God as separate from humanity. God as being a judge who rewards and punishes. Oneness obliterates that idea. True oneness obliterates the idea that God is separate from us. If God is not separate from us, then God must be in and as us. So we no longer are wrestling with this deity outside of us. We are challenged by the divine that is within us to rise up to the standard of that divinity. I feel like a Pentecostal preacher today, but I am not trying to be that. Oneness introduces the inescapable unification between the human and the divine. You see, here's the deal. Consciousness is everywhere and in everything all at once. So there is no such thing as a fall from grace. Vladimir Lenin said this: the greatest drug to be used on humanity is religion. And we have been pumped full of it. Not just the religion of Christianity or whatever other religion you might want to name, but any religion that lifts itself up while oppressing and holding others down is not of God. It is not divine. And it is not truth. So, if this oneness with the divine is true and there's no fall from grace, then the only issue we truly have is our amnesia about who we really are. And they don't want you to know who you really are. Because when you wake up to who you really are, you're not going to allow the oppression to continue. You will challenge poverty in the wealthiest nation in the world. We are more worried about TikTok going blank than we are about 140 million people who are stuck in poverty because they need them to be stuck in poverty because the system is propped up on the back of slavery. And if you can't hold them in chains, you put them in mental chains. These theological implications are radical because they tell us that there is no need for external salvation. We already are divine, and we always have been. When are we going to start acting like it? It's really pretty talk, friends, to have in a nice group meeting around a nice book. I am divine. Did you know that? Does the world know that we know we're divine? Where's our voice? When so many voices that are devoid of compassion, that are devoid of kindness, that are devoid of truth are getting the loudest microphones. Where are our voices? Well, you know, we just want to be loved. If we're going to be love, it's going to challenge a system of hate. If we're going to be love, it's going to challenge a system that oppresses whole groups of people. If that's love. See, the thing is, they don't want you to know you're free because this system that has been built on guilt and fear needs you to believe you're bound and that they have the solution. True radical oneness threatens religious dogma because that religious dogma has rabies. And it needs to keep you afraid, filled with shame, filled with guilt, so that it can keep you obedient. True oneness with God. And by the way, this is the oneness Jesus talked about. People say, where's Jesus in this message? You know where Jesus is in this message? Jesus is cheering on those who are willing to take up their cross and follow him. We get tattoos of crosses, but we're not willing to carry one because we're afraid of the crucifixion process. Jesus' final prayer with his disciples was that they would recognize their oneness with the Father just as he had come to recognize it. True oneness transcends and inoculates us from the idolic drug of God. It's quite disturbing to wake up and realize that the God you were taught about isn't real. I went through that divorce over 20 years ago. Not only was I going through a physical divorce in my life, but I was going through the divorce from the Jesus I'd been taught about and the God I'd been taught about all at once. You talk about deep despair when you're sitting in the middle of your bed and you're crying out to a God you no longer believe in, and you're saying, I don't believe in you. Please show me a sign. And he doesn't. Do you know what that feels like when your entire identity is wrapped up in that? Well, that's all you have. I know what it feels like. And that's why it occurred to me this last week, Carolyn, I'm not afraid. I was like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to lift my voice because you can't scare a dead man. You can't startle a dead man. I've given up this physical life. I have said I don't care about this body. I care about this purpose. And so they can come for the body, but they cannot take the purpose. No one can. Number two, and I may not make it through all of this. Somebody say, thank you, Jesus. Number two, true oneness redefines diversity, identity, and individualism. In our Western culture, we've been taught that we are separate, that we're self-contained individuals. But the principle of oneness destroys that illusion. When we understand that there is only one thing happening here, then we can see that what we call you and me are simply ways that the whole is expressing itself in terms of diversity. Now, true oneness doesn't let all you folks off the hook who think that what I've been given to you today is a political message. You see, the problem is today is that politics has infiltrated not only religion but spirituality. And it's tried to make us think that subjects like this are political. I don't care that they've hijacked it and tried to make it political. This is about humanity. This is about decency. This is about respect. This is about what's right. It's not about politicians or politics. But you're not separate. Those of you who are in here who cannot stand Donald Trump, let me announce to you today, you're not separate from him. No matter how much you might want to be, you're not separate from him. He may be the example and the antithesis of what you believe to be true, but you're not separate from him in any way. There's still that connection that you have to even those you cannot stand. Boy, that wasn't as loud. Now, remember, I didn't come here for a popularity contest. I didn't come for likes and loves on the Facebook. It doesn't mean we don't stand up when we see what is transpiring in this country. That's not what it means. It doesn't mean we stay quiet. It doesn't mean that we allow our voice to be muted when it comes to people being literally oppressed. I'm not afraid of this administration. I'm not afraid of this current president. I'm not afraid of this current government. There's no fear here because you can't make a dead man afraid. And so we will stand in stark contrast to say we as a community will not support hatred. We will not support outright racism. We won't support sexism. We won't support oppression toward trans and gay and lesbian people. We will not. We will stand as a wall of protection for them. So if you're going to get to them, come through me. I welcome it. So this means that this rugged individualism is a lie. It felt so good to be rugged. So, me against the world, against the wind, going against the grain. No, your individual ruggedness is a lie. Independence and codependence give way to interdependence as oneness begins to grow in you. Because you recognize that without the trees, you can't breathe. Without the contrast of those who live in darkness and those who have decided to become the walking dead, you wouldn't know you were alive. And yeah, folks, let me tell you something. The earth is splitting. You may not like it. I don't like it. I'd like to see it happen some other way, but the earth is splitting. The earth is in turmoil right now. And in this time and space, there is going to be a divine division that reminds us of our divine unity. And that's what's happened. There's lines being drawn in the sand. And once again, we're having to go around this thing again because we've not learned our lesson. We will continue to revolve in this wilderness until we learn to evolve into better human beings, better divine beings. So, if we are radically interconnected, then personal success, please hear this, personal success, personal wealth, and personal enlightenment are incomplete unless they serve the whole world. If your personal success, your personal wealth, and your personal enlightenment, whatever that is, does not serve the world, then it's not founded in oneness. Because in oneness, there is a deep desire to not just lift yourself up, but to see others lifted up. I don't know where we go from here, but I do know that it is my absolute sworn contractual duty with the universe to be a voice of change in the world. And I have decided that if I stand alone in doing it, I will. Because I will not stand idly by as people that I love and I care about, people that I hold dear to my heart, live every day under the threat of what is currently happening in our world. I will not stand idly by. And if that means I can't have a voice in a pulpit because it's too political for some, if that's what it means, I'm good with that. I've already told you, I don't need a church, don't need a platform, don't need a pulpit. I'll go out in the middle of the beach and do it. I'll go out in the middle of my backyard and do it. Because we can't continue to say that we're one with everyone and that love is who I am until we're ready to act on it. And we can't continue to spiritually bypass the things that make us feel uncomfortable. And if this makes you uncomfortable, good. Because it's time we had a little discomfort that will rattle us to wake the hell up. Let me rephrase. Because I think I met my cussing quota last month and it leaked into this one. It's time to wake the heaven up because there's plenty of hell in the world. And it's a hell we're creating. And we need to withdraw from the system of creating it. I want you to know that although my face may seem angry, my sweat may look like frustration. It is from the depths of love that you cannot imagine. Love that gives me the fuel to take my place of privilege in the world as a white, middle-aged, heterosexual male and use my voice to call out oppression wherever I see it, and to do what we can to free every single mind from the slavery of mental separation. You're not separate from the people that you come in contact with. You never will be, no matter how much you want to act like you are. Radical oneness invites us to lift up our voices, to step to the front of the line and say, we're not here to save the world. It's been dead. We're here to create a new world. I believe we have the power to do it. And I'm not drafting anybody today. I'm not signing anybody up. There's nothing for you to sign. This may be too heavy for you to ever come back again. And if it is, I apologize to the leadership of this church. But as for me and my house, I have to do what I've been mandated to do. And that's to declare from the rooftops and the mountaintops oneness, unity, equality, equity, love, compassion, kindness, respect, and harmony for all of humanity. That is who we are at our core, and we need to act like it for once. Act like it. And lastly, for those who think this is anarchy, this is not anarchy. I'm not signing anybody up for an army. People who believe that God needs an army misunderstand that God is omnipotent, all-powerful, all-knowing, and doesn't need a military force to threaten violence against anyone. And any religion that does that misunderstands God. God is almighty, and that God dwells within you. And may it come forth as deep, active love called compassion. Holy Presence, wake us up. Cure us of the disease of mental slavery. Cure us from the disease of our privilege. Open up our eyes and our hearts. More importantly, open up our minds that have been sealed shut with repeated hypnosis. Wake us up. In this time where there are those who are awake and those who are the walking dead, may we have compassion even on those who are the walking dead. Give to us the ability to know that we are connected irrevocably and eternally to the all. Forgive us of the sin of complacency and complacency. Ignite in us a love that gives us the ability to look at the things that break our heart so that we can face it and change it. Open up our hearts to truly live that love is who I am. And may this be a place, a sanctuary, a safe harbor for every soul. Love is who I am. Gratitude is my attitude. Abundance is my nature. Well-being is my birthright. And love is my decision. Sal, will you and Nick come back and lead us in that song again? Love is my decision. And then after that, thank you. While that's happening, thank you, Iman. While that's happening, I'm going to ask you to make a decision today. This used to be like at the end of services, they would do altar calls, you know. And it was so you could, I guess get your sins forgiven. That was really the point of it. But there's a reason it was called an altar. And the word altar is the root word for alteration. And I'm going to do something really strange for First Unity Spiritual Campus, as if, right? Sal is singing this song. If you feel like that the time has come for you to press into the spaces that feel uncomfortable, and you have something that you have maybe heard a call in your spirit today to really shift and do something. This space is open. Not for you to come and hope God won't be mad at you this week and won't strike you down, but for alteration. See, alterations happen so that you don't have to throw out the whole outfit. So if you feel like there's a soul alteration, a shift that you, or maybe there's just something in you today that has gripped you, but there's also this sense of anger. I'm not sure what this meant. You're not coming down here to join the church. You're not coming down here to join a religion. I'm not even saying you have to come down here, but it's just sometimes cool to move the feet in the direction of something and say, you know what, I'm making a step for me. I'm willing to alter the way I've been doing life. And maybe do it just a little deeper in love as they lead us in this song again. Thank you, Sal.